This is the short video about my jury rig for the Golden Globe race. I did this a couple of years ago. I have done it since, but actually when I went out, my camera was on time lapse and only shot for a couple of minutes, and it turned out to be seconds. So here I am heading out of Dingle. I clipped on the two spinnaker poles to the chain plates. I tied two backstays and a front stay on, and I put a rope onto the top of it and just pulled it up. It went up really easy. Just threw a pulley block up in the bow, and I had two backstays tight the right length. Now they were only rope. The forestay was actually wire, even though the rope pulling it up was only ordinary rope. So yeah, you just pull it up and up it comes. That was a fine day. I had better days, windier days after. As you can see, one of the backstays is now tight, and I just tightened the second one. I could adjust them then to whatever way I needed to adjust them. I only had old sails off old boats at the time, and I used them. I did it with better sails since. When I sail to the start of the race from Ireland, I will practice another bit with the sails I have on board. But I find it really works so well and so easy. So this was the jib on this day. I had to stitch it. It was quite old and bruised, but it was only for an experiment really, so it was grand. So I hanged it onto the forestay and pulled it up. And it was only about 12 knots that day, 10-12 knots. So it was easy. Fine day, Dingle Bay. So it wasn't too much of a swell. There's always, well, nearly always a swell around Ireland. So yeah, so I hauled it up and came back and pulled it in. It was good to do the first day anyway, on the day when there wasn't much wind. So then I had a blue jib that I hauled up. I actually made the foot luff and tied it up, and it was a bit small, but it was fine for the first day. I had a bigger one since, a couple of times. So I tied it off to the windward side rather than in the center of the boat, and I think it worked better. And I would encourage anyone to try this, just to get used to it in case you ever did lose your mast, if you're doing any bit of ocean passages, because it's so easy to do. Only for the Golden Globe race I wouldn't have done it, and you learn an awful lot from all different aspects of life, but this is something I think that's worth trying for anybody. It's just so easy, and now if you're doing it in the Southern Ocean and bad conditions, it mightn't be so easy, but you would hope that you wouldn't be in the position that it would be very difficult. So the next day after I did this, a friend of mine, Kieran Ryan, great photographer and organizer of lots of stuff, he came down and took photographs. And you can see this is a different sail on that day. Now we had very little wind that day, but it was good for taking photographs. We got a little gust of wind towards the end, sailing in the narrows of Dingle Harbour, but it amazed me just how well the steering works, the self-steering with this setup. Be jakers and be jinkers, I hope I never need it. What do you think? Huh? I won't.